Hey all, welcome to my brand spanking new YouTube channel, Fully Invested Fi. My name is Job. Job like in Arrested Development. Great name and great show. And yeah, I've been a long time consumer of YouTube. I've been watching a lot of finance videos over the years, and yeah, felt the want and need to jump into the space. I just recently started kind of like a new shift in strategy in my portfolio that I wanted to share with you guys, and yeah, see if you want to follow along with the journey. I basically made the jump to fully living out of my Robinhood Brokerage account, which was a big shift. Started the journey towards this inadvertently started several months ago when, and to preface too, I work in a tech adjacent industry, and yeah, it's been a crazy last few years in my industry. There's been a lot of like company closures, layoffs, and one thing that I did like several months ago, almost a year now actually, almost a year ago, was start to invest in high yield income ETFs and stocks. I started out actually like years ago more in dividends, and it's kind of like evolved from kind of getting through that base first. But yeah, I felt like that was like a good way for me to kind of help calm my mind about any potential layoffs or just the instability of the industry by kind of generating that passive income in the background. So yeah, that I kind of started a few months ago just to kind of dip my toes in. And then as I was seeing kind of like just the real money come in every month, I just kind of like kept going and kept going. And yeah, that's where I am now. So I just kind of incremented from maybe a couple hundred a month that I was making, a couple thousand. And now, yeah, I'll kind of show the full breadth of it in a bit. But yeah, so today I'm basically fully living out of my Robinhood Brokerage account. So yeah, let's kind of dive in here through different things. I'll show like my Snowball analytics page that I set up recently, my Robinhood account, and this master spreadsheet that I've been working on for years that tracks all my stuff and that I nerd out about a lot. So yeah, so if we go over here to my Snowball analytics, you can kind of see here just the various numbers and the stuff that makes up my accounts. So here, yeah, you have like the full account value, 131K, full profit. So this includes dividends that are given, whether they're reinvested or not, and capital gains. So you can kind of see the breakdown there. 10.8% IRR, which is like the annual growth rate based on the holdings that I have. So yeah, it's all kind of split into these four buckets. So two major buckets, as in like the high yield portion and then the growth portion, which I kind of consider the anchor for the entire portfolio. And then within the high yield as well, there's kind of like its own anchor portion. So yeah, the growth base here. So it's made up of some ETFs. So just like the classics, VU, SEHD, QQQ, M for tech exposure. I really love dividend growth, and I've kind of been doing that for the last few years. Really, it's been the majority of the time I've been investing. I've been really investing in dividend growth, either through SEHD, even like stocks that are growth and dividend growth, such as like Apple or Microsoft. So this is kind of like the anchor. So a good majority of the growth side is in this, and then I also have some individual stocks in here too. So Apple and Microsoft make up the big ones here. It's probably my longest held stock since like 2021 for the both of those, and they made like probably the highest gains in the portfolio. And just recently, so for the last few years, I've been kind of like going off the rule of like I'm just investing in stuff that actually gives a dividend, and then just recently, as I've shifted my strategy towards this new strategy, I've done Reddit, I've done Costco, Robinhood, Alphabet, just stuff that may or may not pay a dividend, but stuff that I feel is kind of growing, and also that like I use day to day. So yeah, so that's that. So that's for like the growth portion of the portfolio. So that makes up about 130K of the portfolio. So almost like the full equity, right? So where the high yield comes in is actually, and this is the high risk part, of course. Like, so don't emulate this. None of this is financial advice or thing. This is just for entertainment purposes for you to follow along. is the high yield portion. And I'm leveraging quite a bit of margin to kind of invest in these. So here, yeah, you have my YMAX, YMAG, XPay, LT. This is kind of like the anchor. This is since it's a fund of funds and they're like fairly diversified. So that kind of makes up the core of the high yield stuff. And then also there's like some more individual ones, which is like NVIDIA, Misty, Hui, BITO for Bitcoin exposure. So yeah, you can kind of see how that's all broken down there. What's nice is, yeah, I love Snowball Analytics with how detailed it is. So you can kind of see your monthly projections, your growth over time. I kind of have my overall goal here right now, the 108K here. This is just to cover my average monthly expenses right now, which is about 9K a month. So I'm like 53% of the way there right now. So if we hop on to the dividend calendar, so I'm generating right now, on average, 57.9K a year, which is about 4.8K a month, which is amazing. Honestly, it's covers a good chunk of my expenses. I'm like kind of halfway there because it's like 9K, like I mentioned. But yeah, that's real money coming in and covering a good chunk of that. It covers more than my mortgage. And I started out like a few months ago, just dabbling with like smaller bills, like my phone bill, my internet bill, all that. Then once I kind of saw like how big the numbers were getting, I was kind of like hankering to kind of make the bigger jump. And I was like, could I just be investing my full paycheck given the arbitrage opportunities between margin and the yields? And that's exactly what I did. But yeah, you can kind of see like this is nice just to kind of see what's going to come in down. And Snowball always takes the last payout and then projects that out, right? So these numbers will shift quite a bit from week to week. So as I'll share this from week to week, you'll notice how this changes and shifts as I'm investing and as the payouts change. So yeah. Yeah, so in the Robinhood account, this is what it looks like as far as like things, those same numbers. Today was a good day in the market. Today we're August 7th. So today this number is actually like quite a bit higher, just because like some dividends dropped as far as like XPay and BITO. So yeah, that stuff is always great to see. You kind of see those drop in here. But yeah, and if you kind of compare it, so far, and I only recently switched to Robinhood from Fidelity because of the good margin rates, and I'll probably dive into that in a later video. But yeah, if we compare it even to like VU today was down, and S&P 500 was down 0.06% today. I'm up like 2.3% over the month. I'm up 8K, 6.7%. VU is up 2.2%. So yeah, it's working out pretty good as far as like the gains, because of the margin too. Like the gains are amplified, but also the losses. So you got to be careful. I keep my buying power fairly healthy here, so you'll kind of see that I have like 47.7K available. I don't use this full buying power because I like keeping my margin status low risk here and have like a good buffer. So I have like a 60K of buffer here. So that leaves that I could technically invest all this and probably still be fine, but I want to keep this buffer around just because of I'm making up the difference between my monthly expenses and my margin, essentially. I'm using my margin to make up that difference between the dividends that are coming in that directly pays down the margin and my buffer here. So yeah, so 47.7K is technically available for me to invest, but I'm not. I like kind of keeping this 23K available for withdrawal. This is roughly what you'd see. So like if you were to go to transfer here, right? And transfer money. Oops, you actually see here, individual cash available. So this is full on cash available for me to withdraw, to use, transfer over to my Robinhood spending account, which doubles my debit account right now, or my checking account. Still waiting on Robinhood banking, which should open this fall, and I'll be excited to try out. But yeah, this is cash available that I can transfer over every time I get paid for my paychecks, and that's what I transfer those to my spending account, and then I get pulled out for bills and things like that. So if we go over to my spending account here, you'll actually see just various bills being paid or transfers being done. So here, this is July 31st. This was actually my full mortgage. yeah, this is here you can kind of see my full paycheck that came in, directly deposited to my spending account, and then I'm transferring all of it to my investing account. And yeah, and then how that kind of breaks down for this these pies is that I do roughly 40%, so roughly 4K of that paycheck goes to growth stocks or ETFs. So depending on how the market's doing that week, I might maybe just invest in QQQM or SCHD. Or if there's like a dip in a particular stock that I look like, and I have like a watch list of others too, I might invest in those. But like 4,000 a month basically goes to that. So 2,000 per paycheck. And then the rest of the paycheck, the $3,000 and change, that goes to the high yield stuff. So that's roughly 60% of my paycheck. So yeah, that'll either go, depending on what I'm feeling that week, depending on what the market's doing, I might either do it on some of these anchor high yield funds or some of these high yield stocks. So yeah, but on average, we'll look here, and now this is the crazy spreadsheet, because this is like almost like a representation of my crazy head as I'm looking at all this. So yeah, this is like my big net worth spreadsheet. Been working at this since like 2021. Love updating it every 2 weeks, every week or whatnot. And then actually here, this is a good opportunity here. I actually need to update my margin because these dividends came in. So my margin is actually this now. So I'll just do that real quick. And then you can kind of see all that update in real time, which is great. So yeah, just keeping my equity in check, keeping my margin maintenance in mind. I'm kind of calculating all that over here. So I know all the margin maintenance that you can kind of see in Robinhood per stock, right? So you can kind of see all that over here. So that's all input there. And then that calculates my blended rate and how much maintenance. So my portfolio basically has to dip to this before I hit a margin call. So that's like a 60K buffer, like we saw in the margin stuff over here. So yeah, when we look at this stuff, so this is an exact match to these numbers essentially. So yeah, I have a really good margin rate on here. It's like 5.25%, which is crazy because it's lower than my mortgage, which is at 5.95%. So yeah, just felt like too good of a deal to pass up compared to Fidelity, which over was like a 10 and change. But yeah, so this is kind of the crazy spreadsheet. So you'll see kind of a lot of similar information maybe in like Snowball. Here I'm calculating stuff a little bit differently as far as the monthly dividend. Here I'm actually looking at like the average payouts year to date for all the things. So yeah, these numbers are a little bit different from what we were looking at over here when we were looking at the calendar, right? But yeah, so this is how I'm kind of just looking at everything, and we'll probably dive into various things of this in the future. But yeah, that's my total net worth there between everything: my passive income account, real estate, Roth IRA, HSA, 401k, and yeah, there'll be plenty of time to dive into those in later videos. But for now, mostly focusing on this fully living out of my brokerage strategy and fully investing my paycheck. So yeah, the goal really with all of this is to basically try to snowball my dividends to basically cover my monthly expenses and then some. So like ideally I'd probably want it to be above 2-3x that, even my monthly expenses and even my normal paycheck. So you can kind of see like my gross salary monthly target here. And then also just like the hourly salary target too. Like I calculated this based on the Washington minimum wage, which is where I'm based out of, which is a high cost of living city. So yeah, that's why the monthly expenses are so high. But yeah, you can kind of see that the returns here are quite a bit given everything, given all the different funds I'm invested in here. So like 56%. So, and here I'm just calculating just the high yield portion, so not the full account. If you calculate the full account, it's like more like 27% the dividend. But yeah, then various scenarios here as far as like I have like a HELOC on the side that I'm paying off. So minus the entrance of the account, and then kind of just simulate taxes here. I'm not going to worry about this just yet, and I'll explain in later videos why. But yeah, even then, 28% return on basically almost $500 a month that I'm borrowing. So that's like amazing return and arbitrage, right? But yeah, as far as potentially projecting this out, I did this little spreadsheet here. So yeah, you kind of doing it month by month and kind of see like year 1, year 2, year 3, year 4, year 5, all the way to year 10. I have a crazy aggressive retirement plan of doing this by 40 years old. My plan used to be 45, and I've stepped that up recently with this strategy. So we'll see how close I can get, and I'll be tracking this month by month, and you're welcome to follow along. But this is where we are at here in August, and then we're kind of projecting out from there. But if all goes well, and depending on how the strategy works out, I'll be reaching a point around month 16, 17, where my dividends should potentially exceed my monthly expenses. And then that's where margin starts getting paid down. So this is going to accrue because of the difference, but then it gets steadily paid down. So if you look down and project down, potentially by year 4, I might have the margin fully paid down. And honestly, maybe I might even just kind of keep it on and not necessarily fully pay it off. We'll see how that all shakes out. It's a very evolving strategy. Yeah, like I've only started doing this like a couple months ago, fully, like as far as like doing the full investment stuff of my paycheck. That was like in May, I want to say. So yeah, so a lot of information to take in. But yeah, just to recap, because the video is kind of running long at this point. Yeah, it's my new channel, Fully Invested Fi. So yeah, to fully recap this, I'm fully living outside of my Robinhood Brokerage account. I basically transfer money every paycheck from my brokerage account to my spending account, and I just pay my bills out of there, my mortgage, my internet bills, my phone bills, my credit cards. Like I said, I'm investing my full paycheck, which is the big part of this. 40% of that goes to growth and dividend growth stocks, which I consider kind of like the anchors to the portfolio. And then 60% goes to the high yield income ETFs, which is what will keep the dividends kind of flowing in every month and growing. And then I'm also leveraging margin to make up the difference between my monthly expenses and my monthly dividends and distributions. So this is like basically a big arbitrage play of like the 5.25% margin interest versus like the 30, 50 plus % yielding ETFs that I'm using. So I'm basically treating my account like a bank at the end of the day. So it's like similar to like how a bank might, when you deposit your money in the bank, they take your money and they actually loan that out to other people, get interest, keep the bulk of it, and then just give you the scraps, especially the big banks. So you'll get like 0.05% or 0.01% or whatnot. But obviously you're probably hopefully doing the high yield savings ones that are actually like 4%, like SoFi, Wealthfront, and all that. But yeah, I'm basically treating it like my bank. So I'm putting all the money in, I'm investing in higher yielding stuff, and then giving myself the even better spread of it, right? So yeah, the goal with that is really snowballing my monthly dividends and distributions over time, and I want to fully cover my monthly expenses, and eventually start paying down my margin. Maybe fully, maybe not. We'll see. And yeah, I'm really targeting 5 by 40 very, very, very aggressively. And I forgot to mention, I am 35, or maybe I did mention that. But yeah, that's the big thing. I hope you'll follow along with my journey on this. Yeah, it's a big shift from what I've been doing since I started investing in 2021. And we'll get into that in later videos too, just kind of how I got to this point. But yeah, I hope you'll follow along, like and subscribe, all that good stuff. And yeah, hope to see you in the comments. Be happy to answer any questions and see what else you'd want to see from this. But yeah, again, too, none of this is financial advice, as we all say. It's really just for entertainment purposes, for you to follow along, see if I make this crazy strategy work or not. And then I'll see you in the next one. Bye.